Growing up, I had dreams and aspirations, but always felt like the kid that didn't fit in. For the most part, I wasn't a bad kid, but when I made the transition into adulthood, I turned to the streets for guidance. This led to getting locked up in juvenile hall, doing time in CYA, and eventually a 120-month sentence in federal prison. I had a lot of time to think and reflect during my federal sentence, so I share with you what I learned, hoping I can positively influence someone else's life with Prison Talk. What's up, everybody? Big Herc, fresh out, life after penitentiary, here for another edition of Prison Talk. I want to say thank you to all of our fans who have been subscribing and telling your friends and family to subscribe. Want to keep getting a thumbs up for all the videos you guys like, and also if you got any questions, shoot us an email at FreshOutSeries@gmail.com, and also check out the website www.FreshOutSeries.com for the apparel, the hats, and also if you got any comments directly you want to make to us, you can always click on there also. So I had a question from one of our fans. They said, hey, what's up, Big Herc? Being that you did time, would you actually have any interaction with a correctional officer? I know that sometimes, being inside, you have certain, involvements, but as far as when you get out, would you associate with a correctional officer or be friends with a correctional officer? Interesting question. When you're doing time, you come to realization, you put yourself there, the correctional officer put themselves there, you're on one side, they're on another side, you're doing time, it is what it is, you don't really, you kind of got to take almost the emotional or the human side, the human element out of it as far as emotions. And, upon getting released, once I got up out of there, I realized like, hey man, they're doing a job, and, I'm there doing my job, which is to make it home safe and get the fuck out of there. So, I really didn't have any animosity, going into the halfway house. And prior to being locked up, I actually had a good friend that was a correctional officer who shared his story on one of the Fresh Out interviews. His name was Tony Leaf. And good dude, knew him for over 20 years. Before, prior to when I went in, and then we linked up when I got out. We actually linked up on Facebook. He sent me a friend request, and we started chopping it up, man. And he had heard I got locked up, but he didn't have any animosity towards me, and I didn't have any towards him. As far as us reconnecting as friends, we basically continued our friendship from where it left off, and we used to work out together. We used to hang out occasionally in Sacramento, and we kept in touch, after the fact. But he worked 20 years in the correctional system for the state of California, which is a little bit different than the feds. And like I said, he's currently retired now. He did an interview, but a cool dude. And when you look into the mentality of different people who work these jobs, I mean, a lot of times people are just trying to feed their families, and but some of them, they buy into the system, so they become assholes. And then some of them they just come there to do a job. They do their little 8-hour shift and they go home. So it just depends on the individual. But I haven't, as far as I actually did run across another CO that I did fuck with, literally, because this particular individual was a correctional officer for the state, a female, and Big Herc had to crush them cheeks out, man, had to put it down. But that was on some other shit, and that was back in my old going to the party, busting cheeks, coochie assassin days. But yeah, that CO apparently didn't have no animosity, and those are fun times. But primarily when you're out and you run across people that got jobs and they're doing stuff, a lot of times you don't really make a big deal about them being a correctional officer because you're free now, and you don't discuss what they do at work, and you don't discuss with them what you do at work. So it is what it is. But like I said, the COs that I've run across since I've been free, regular people, a lot of times they don't just talk about their job just because of security reasons. But check out Tony Leaf's interview. 20 years I've known this guy, over 20 years, and we're still friends, no animosity, and good dude, what I'm saying? And he was a correctional officer. And shout out to the CO that I busted cheeks with.